Okay, so Estée Lauder, you know the name, right? You've seen it pretty much everywhere, in just about every country. It's the definition of a global beauty empire. But, and this is the wild part, behind that iconic logo is a story that starts way, way smaller. I'm talking about a kitchen with just a simple face cream. So the big question is, how on earth did one woman take that cream and build a whole dynasty? Well, that's what we're going to break down today.
And this quote, this really unlocks her whole story. I never dreamed of success. I worked for it. I mean, that's not just some nice inspirational line you'd see on a poster. That was her entire business plan. This story isn't about luck or being in the right place at the right time. Nope. It was all about relentless hard work and just this unshakable belief in her product. And that philosophy, that's the key to understanding everything that came next.
All right, so to really get the work, we first have to get the woman. You know, before the massive empire, before that iconic brand, who was she? Let's dial it all the way back to the beginning, to a young girl who was about to learn the trade that would literally define her entire life.
So her story starts out in New York. She was born Josephine Esther Mentzer, and she grew up in a world where, nothing was just handed to you. That lesson right there would become her greatest asset. She had this early fascination with beauty, but it was one single person, a pivotal influence, that was going to turn that little interest into a complete obsession, and, eventually, a massive empire.
And that catalyst, the real turning point in her story, it wasn't some genius business plan or a lucky break. It was family. A relative showed up who brought the world of science and chemistry right into her kitchen, and that sparked the formula for all her success.
Yeah, it all kicked off with her uncle, who was a chemist. And look, he wasn't just a mentor, he was her first teacher. He didn't just hand her a finished product and say, here you go. No, he taught her the craft, the actual science behind making these creams and lotions from scratch. So this wasn't just about learning a formula, it was about mastering the process. And that hands-on knowledge, that's what ignited her passion and gave her the incredible confidence that would fuel her entire career.
So, armed with a product she knew was absolutely brilliant, she was ready to take on the world. The only problem? The world wasn't quite ready for her. Her early journey wasn't some story of instant success. Oh no, it was a story of closed doors, one after another, and the sheer resolve it took to just kick them down.
And this is the classic entrepreneur's battle, isn't it? The obstacles were huge. I mean, major department stores flat out said no. The market didn't trust some unknown name. And her resources? She had almost no money. But her mindset was her secret weapon. Her belief in her product was just unwavering. Instead of spending money on ads she didn't have, she relied on direct demos, person to person. And her core principle was just so simple: never, ever give up.
You know what they say, rejection often breeds innovation. If the gatekeepers weren't going to put her products on their shelves, fine. She would just find another way. So she came up with this pretty radical strategy to bypass the stores entirely and get her creams directly into the hands and onto the faces of her customers.
The free sample. I mean, today, it seems so obvious, right? But back then, this was revolutionary. And this wasn't just some simple giveaway. It was a strategy built on absolute, rock-solid confidence. Her philosophy was pretty radical for the time. Let the product do the selling. By letting people actually try it, she could bypass all those skeptical store buyers and prove the quality directly to the one person who mattered most, the customer.
And then it happened. Her persistence finally paid off. One major department store finally said yes. And that one single opening, that was all she needed. Just like she predicted, the free sample strategy worked like a charm. Customers tried it, they loved it, and they came back to buy more. Word of mouth did the rest. This was the tipping point. This was the moment the dam finally broke.
So that single yes, that was the start of everything. From just one counter in one department store, she started building a global empire. And suddenly, it wasn't just about selling cream anymore. It was about completely redefining the entire beauty industry.
I mean, just look at the speed of this journey. She founded the company in 1946. Only 7 years later, she lands that breakthrough account. And by the 1960s, we're talking less than 2 decades from launch, she's already a global force. So when she passed away in 2004, she hadn't just built a company, she had created a full-blown dynasty.
So this is the formula, right? Her success wasn't magic. It was built on 4 really distinct pillars. First, a high-quality product she knew, deep down, was the best. Second, innovative marketing that built direct trust with her customers. Third, powerful, elegant branding.
And finally, the engine behind it all, an unbreakable determination that turned every single no into fuel. And that combination, it didn't just make her successful. It made her one of the wealthiest self-made women in history.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. Estée Lauder built her entire empire on this supreme confidence, this belief that she could just give her product away, knowing its value would bring people back. So it makes you think, right? What is the one thing you believe in so much that you'd be willing to give it away for free just to prove how good it is? What's your free sample?